generating money, generous mindset, gaining muscle, going for more, GM. Hi, everybody. Awesome. I got an update from corporate about our E3 event and a couple different assets we can start using. So let's get into that. Welcome to Wealth Wednesday, everybody. If this is your first time here, put this on your calendar. Grab the Zoom link, put it in your Google Calendar as a repeat reminder. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We are here. We are working. We are making a difference. We're learning, improving. We don't stop. We've been doing this call 14 years now. On our 14th year. So reliable is what I'm trying to say. Be here. All right, so check this out. We got ourselves some flyers, marketing images, some videos, some PDFs. Let me grab this link here. I'm going to drop it in the chat for everybody. And as a reminder, if you know someone that needs to be here on this call, shoot them the link and say, hey, Wealth Wednesday. You don't want to miss this. That's what brokies do. Okay. So check the link. There's your Dropbox. In here we got flyers. Educate, equip, engage. Now, sweet. You know, this is about what to expect. Speaker lineup. But what I would do is I would insert my own QR link on this. That's what I would do. I grab my link because this one will go to the general registration page with no protection. Now, if you've already protected the person, then it's fine. There won't be a clash or a rejection on that. But if you haven't registered them or checked them in, then you're either going to have to let corporate know, hey, corporate, my guest used your link, or just paste your QR link over this, and I'll probably just white this out. And if you don't know how to do that, you're not using AI effectively. AI can either tell you how to do it or can actually do it for you if you know how to work it or what system. But I would, yeah, other than that, that's the only thing I would change. Canva would probably be super easy, right? But anyway, change that link there. So that's some of the flyers. There's different styles. Oh, there you go. One without the QR. It's on this one. Oh, a little more in-depth. Put your code here. More of the light version. And then one with corporate's code on there. What's this? Yeah, so Thursday and Friday are going to be two Q&A panels. So this isn't the VIP lunches. That's something different. But yeah, these 2 days, I believe, are open to everybody. But you know what's missing on this? I just realized the VIP ticket is not on here. We got the early bird, the standard, no VIP. Oh, there it is. Silly me. Sweet. Okay, so is the link working for everybody? GM. Okay, so we got the flyers. Okay, then, oops. Then we got marketing images. All the who's and the what's is, what to expect. Now, please do not put all of these up at once. That doesn't make any sense. I've seen people on our team do it before. We give them a big old folder of stuff, and then they just post all of it on their Facebook all in one go. That is not how you build a campaign. And that's not how people take you seriously. One at a time, maybe two at a time, drip. You could do several a day making a campaign, but not all at once. Okay. So anyway, supposedly these are formatted for Instagram and these are formatted for other platforms. There's going to be a surprise presenter. Who are these people? Awesome. What a great picture. Beautiful people. Anyway, something else you could be doing, as I was thinking about this, was a little video. If you've interacted with any of these people, you make a little video about what it was, what your interaction was like. Maybe it was just on these Zooms. Maybe you met them in person. But as you're putting up the folders and the flyers and the pictures, also make some videos about your experience with these people. Let's try this again. Shareable videos. Last folder, and then you guys can take it away. So each of these, I think, are 15 to 30 seconds. Sweet. So there you go. 20 different videos right here. So you got a 20-day campaign or more, right? You spread them out. But we have 105 days. So we're looking at 13 weeks or so. It's exciting times. So anyway, a ton of stuff for you to get to work on. And then, of course, this is just inspiration. This isn't the only thing. Use this as inspiration. Copy some stuff. If you don't like it, change some stuff. This is the basic, the bare minimum. It'll definitely work for you, but please, add some creativity. Don't post them all at once. And I know a bunch of people are still joining, so I'm going to drop the link in the. There we go. Drop this link in the chat one more time. One more time. GM. Okay. Do you need to use certain hashtag handles or just tag us? We like Renatus and Renatus Rocks. And I think that's it for now. I mean, obviously, if you're in the first flip challenge, you still have the different promotion benchmarks to hit as you are putting your posts and everything out there. So you'll be using those tags as well. So great question, Guadalupe. Maybe we'll start a new one, right? We'll start Don't Be Broke. Or something, a little edgy, little abrasive, just to get people's attention. But no, Renatus Rocks. Renatus Rocks is one we've been using for years and years and years. Okay. Look at that's quote of the day. One day or day one. You decide. One day I'll sell a combo. One day I'll pay off my house. One day I'll buy that thing I said I wanted. Or day one of me buying this, or day one of me selling combos. Whatever it is. I like that quote. One day or day one. Sweet. Okay, well, Wealth Wednesday. Wealth Wednesday. Is Mr. Daine Clark in the house? Shoot a quick reminder. Cool. Claudia, Deborah's here. Good morning. Doug, Gilda, Gosha, good morning. Good morning. Heidi, Michelle, Carla, Kelvin, GM. Lupe, Maximiliano, buenos dias. Pat, Paul, Roseanne, GM, Stephen, Tamara, and Tiffany. Bruce, Jasmine, welcome to the call. Maylee, Anthony, all of you. But no Daine. All right. Send a quick reminder. Okay, so yesterday I was looking at something on the FDIC reports about defaults. I was going to say foreclosures, but a foreclosure is part of the process. The default is the occurrence that happened. Folks, they are reporting it is a 15% year-over-year increase. So from 2024's numbers, who was defaulting, 30, 60, and 90-day defaults, to today is a 15% increase. Okay, and essentially 1 out of 6 people, we could say is 15. But that's not, I'm not saying 1 out of 6 people are in default. I'm saying it's 15% up. So let's be more accurate. If there were 100 people in default, now there's 115. Okay. Then I found another interesting report. Let's see if I can find it real quick while I'm telling you about it. So they did a census count. You know, they're supposed to do those every 10 years. They're supposed to do these census counts. And then, you know, the country makes these projections based off of the population growth, where we'll be in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. And then, you know, tries to adjust for road building and infrastructure and insurance and all these other things about the population and the numbers that they're expecting. And what happened is some people reported out that the numbers were wrong, that they were actually off by 6 million people, which meant that their projections for housing and shortages and demands completely off. So, gosh, where is it? So my point is that they were calculating that we were going to need. Okay, so here's one. Share this. Oh, there's Daine right now. Sweet. Okay, so this is looking at the last 30 years of the number of housing units over the population. The population is the denominator. Number of housing units is the numerator. Thousands of units versus thousands of people. Right now, we have more houses compared to people than in the last 30 years. This red text is claiming ever in the history of the United States. Right, it is a zoom in of a 100-year trend. There's not a housing shortage according to these guys. Now, you know, you get mixed stuff. The FHA is saying housing shortage. The builders are saying housing shortage. But why would, you got to think, why would the Union of Builders, who lobby at Washington, D.C., why would they say there's a housing shortage? They would say there's a housing shortage to keep the prices high, to artificially inflate a demand, right? Because the price is based off the demand. So if they say there's a shortage, then they're saying there must be a demand, which means they can raise their prices. But if there's not a demand, they have to drop their prices. A lot of builders would go out of business. So either there's something fishy going on. I don't have all the data, but something fishy, and I don't think there's the housing shortage that we've been told. To get more approvals to build and grants too. Yep. They just want to build more houses because that's all a builder can think about. They're not thinking about the economics of the entire industry. Just like mortgage brokers aren't thinking about builder permits, they're thinking about rates. Just like realtors aren't thinking about what the appraisers and inspectors are thinking, or the insurance people. They're just thinking 6% of sales price. Okay, like there's so many perspectives, and you got to remember that when you're getting a piece of information, it is not the whole picture. So 15% year-over-year increase in defaults per FDIC. FDIC. All right, and then one other quick post, a little news update, just to spark some thinking, okay? Because some of these things that I find are like, I never looked at it that way before. How many boomers, right? We know about the baby boomers and how they've changed everything about our economy, from diapers and baby formula back in the 40s and 50s, all the way up through colleges, 60s and 70s, and then just the flood of asset purchasing from the 70s to the 90s, 401k creations in the 80s, and all that. I mean, the boomers have affected everything, right? Here's something interesting. The number of boomers dying per day in 12 years will reach 11,000. Okay. There are currently 10,000 births per day and 8,600 deaths per day. In 1980, there was 9,000 births per day and 3,600 deaths per day. Sorry, I think I said births, but I didn't say deaths. 10 and 8, 9 and 3. Okay, interesting. Also, this was the one that hit me. Baby boomers own 38% of the homes in the United States, even though they only make up 21% of the population, and 7,000 are dying per day. Okay, so all I'm trying to figure out here is there some alpha? Is there some way we can get an edge with this data in the real estate market space, where we're trying to buy houses, sell houses, solve problems, create solutions, make a boatload of money? 11,000 baby boomers a day are dying, and they own 38% of the houses. Okay, do some research and let's make a plan based off of that. GM, everybody. Yeah, exactly. Yep. See, you guys are already thinking. Love it. Stay on that train. Don't believe anybody. There's two sides to every story, or three. Yep, exactly. Okay, perfect. Also, mainly pointed out we should be doing hashtag E3 on all of our posts as well. So let's keep that gravy train rolling. All right, well, GM, welcome to Wealth Wednesday. Excited to have you here. We're going to be hearing from our trainer today, Mr. Daine Clark, who has completely revolutionized his life, his business, his relationships, because he decided to get dedicated to a process, the process that you are all here engaged with today. Education, getting equipped, getting engaged. Hey, you like that? It's very thematic, right? But that's what he did. He turned the TV off, he turned the news off, he turned the games off, and he got focused on his education. He got up late, got up early, stayed up late, went to all the meetings, attended Super Saturdays, went to the intensives, participated in ATM, went to nationals, did all the stuff. And the compound effect worked on him, just like it did on me, and it did on Nate, and it did on Maylee and Anthony, and all these people. The compound effect will work for you. Let's see, I know he's over 250 deals now, but all kinds of deals, right? Fix and flips to seller financing, lease options, money lending. It's been an incredible educational experience for me to hear what he does on a day-to-day basis. And one other thing I've really admired about him is his desire to help someone understand. Not to just share information, that's one thing, but to make sure that the recipient of that information actually understands it and can use it. And that's something that we've admired about him over the years, is he's been a key part of our training in the mornings, especially on Wealth Wednesdays. Now I've been doing it for years and years. So we love him. We're grateful for him. Let's give a big warm welcome to the man of the hour, Mr. Daine Clark, GM. Howdy, howdy. I cannot hear you. Let me check my mic. My
Had this problem last week too.
Hey,
Oh, we're good. We're good.
good.
Hello, welcome. GMTL. Happy Wealth Wednesday.
Yeah,
And
thanks for being here.
yeah, interesting stuff. Only be buying houses that millennials want to buy. Only be buying houses that Gen Z wants to buy is is how I take that, which honestly that was the advice all along if you really think about it. All the advice that the instructors gave was only buy the housing, the deals that the vast majority of the population can afford.
Yeah, yeah.
And so we always, I'm not sure if this, I'm not sure where this came from actually, but we always would joke and say, oh, are you a Nordstrom investor? Are you a Target investor? Are you a Walmart investor? I'm not sure who coined that, but basically only sticking
That's
like the
Jay
Target.
Massey.
Jay Massey.
That's
Okay,
Jay
yeah.
Massey Dane. Yeah.
And so uh, careful with the Nordstroms
Careful
for
with the
sure.
Nordstroms. Walmarts are everywhere. I don't have a Nordstrom in McMinnville, but we have a Walmart.
Exactly. So don't be doing Nordstrom deals because I'm
Yeah.
sure there's a couple of really nice places. I mean, everywhere you go, but oof, like there's a few people that have kind of built a business model around the Nordstrom mentality, and if those statistics are accurate, like I mean, yeah, there's a bunch of millennials that are making good money. I'm sure there will be Gen Z, but the number, what is it now? It used to be the 80/20 rule. I would dare guess it's now like the 90/10 or maybe even the 95/5 rule. And so just be careful with that. But anywho,
Right. Investing isn't about taking risk,
no,
right?
yeah,
Some people are
exactly.
like, well, I'm an investor. I'm a risk taker. No, there's risk in everything. Okay. So that doesn't mean we're signing up for the risk. Investing to me means getting rich for sure. That's what investing means. It means getting rich for sure. It's not gambling. That's something else. That's entertainment. Investing. I put my dollars here, they come back this way. I put my dollars there, they come back that way. Getting rich for sure is investing. So don't be a gambler.
Exactly. GRFS. I expected more, Michael.
Yeah. Don't.
Just kidding.
All right.
Um,
Oh,
King of acronyms.
yeah.
Just kidding.
Let's see.
Uh, Love it. Luxury homes sit on the marketplace
Oh,
much
nice.
longer. Oh yeah.
I got it right here. Oh my goodness. All right, you guys are gonna like this one. Here's my new acronym.
Love it.
Don't be a gambler. You know what it
Now we're
makes you.
talking. Oh my goodness. Just hit my 1000th day,
In
1000
Renatus?
of
Oh,
walking.
walking.
Beautiful.
Walking.
Love
Like
it.
every day doing your meditative walk kind of thing. That's great.
That's awesome.
That's one thing
It's
why there's
crazy.
these blue zones around the world where people live over 100 years as like a not a standard, but traditional. It's like expected. All of them. What one thing they have in common is they walk after dinner. Americans
Mm.
sit down and vegetate after dinner, but these blue zones where people are living over 100 years, they walk every day after dinner. So
Hmm.
yeah,
Very
no.
interesting. Structures to optimize returns. Love it. Love it. But yeah, in fact, that brings up a good point. So, in making decisions in your life, I remember one of the times that I was given the advice like, don't do something unless you're planning on doing it 100 times, and and then that even can graduate to don't do something unless you're wanting to do it 1,000 times. And it's interesting when you think that way because if you tell yourself like, hey, I'm gonna like I don't want to just do one deal. I want to do 100 deals. It is so interesting how you go about everything differently. You look at you're looking at deals differently. You're looking at how you manage said deals differently. You look at how you're hiring differently. I mean, everything changes when you tell yourself like, hey, I'm not doing this once. I'm doing this 100 times, or I'm doing this 1,000 times. Bruce, I would dare venture to say that you've created some kind of trigger that if this, then we walk. Like like Mike was saying, if we eat dinner, then we walk. And that's just the thing. And like that kind of mindset is how you do 1,000 things. Do it 1,000 times. And so, Bruce, I'm actually curious, like, do you have that trigger of when this happens in your life that is naturally going to happen every day that you walk and you go for that walk? Or do you have to there you go. So there it is. There's the trigger. I wake up, I walk. And that's just built into the programming. Um, and that's how things get done. It's so interesting. Because if not, then all of a sudden you're like, okay, I have to consciously like not do something else and do the thing that do the thing that's going to help me reach my goal. And so you consciously, okay, we're stopping this and we're doing that. And it's interesting how it doesn't last. So many people that are like, oh, like, New Year's resolutions. Oh, I'm gonna work out every day or whatever. That's my New Year's resolution. And it lasts like not very long because they have to consciously think like, okay, I'm stopping this and we're gonna work out. But if you create those triggers, that's like, okay, this happens every day after this trigger, right? I eat breakfast and I do this, or I love Bruce's. I open my eyes, lift my head off the pillow, and I walk. Well, maybe get dressed. So I get dressed, and I walk. And that's probably, I would dare guess, one of the only reasons that Bruce has done it 1,000 times. In fact, Bruce, I'm curious, have there been any days that you didn't walk because you didn't lift your head off the pillow, dress yourself, and go walk? That's it. Any other way it doesn't happen. Yeah, exactly. Like this is insanely like a deep conversation that Bruce mentioned, right? Like I mentioned, I've helped 1,000 people In fact, I'm curious what the number is now. I don't watch it regularly, but the system thankfully tracks it for me. 1,443 people. I have helped 1,443 people get into and actually make money on a real estate deal because we have these triggers of the system of how we do things and how I think about things and how everything changes. Awesome. And then let's see, Micah was saying, and so it made me curious because I don't look at it. Saying thankfully the system tracks it for me, so I don't have to go back and count. I've done 362 real estate transactions since joining Renatus.
We should throw a
Uh,
party at 365.
ooh, yeah. I wanted to
Awesome.
do one a year to make all my Renatus education worth it.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. Kevin O'Leary stated that he learned from Steve Jobs is to focus on 3 signals per day to reach business goal. Yes, don't be distracted from the noise. Do nothing but the 3 signals per day that are money makers. Love it.
Yeah. Depending on your industry, what those money makers would be. Like for us, it's find the people, tell a story, build for events, and follow up. For money makers, but
Yes.
yeah, it's crazy. And I mean, I remember from 2011 when I got started all the way to like 2020, I didn't watch the news. I didn't care about who was the president or who was in office or what policy was, whatever. I just knew that if I find the people, tell the story, build for events, and follow up, I will make millions of dollars. And I did. Then we all had to watch the news in 2020 for a little bit. And
It's kind of forced.
it's like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. But I know now people are back onto the everyday news thing, and it's not one of your signals. Okay. Trump said this, Elon said that. Stop it. It doesn't matter. That doesn't make you money. You don't have enough in your bank account to care about what they say. Okay. You have to earn the time to play into these games. Otherwise, the attention machine will suck up your attention and you go nowhere.
Hmm.
And what a tragedy. Going nowhere on this special place called planet Earth. So, no noise, just signal.
Love it. And I remember there was a book I was reading a book because I think Michael mentioned this that where I came from, like uh, knowledge was not shared, especially personal development type of knowledge. And so I'd be asking everybody in the community, like, hey, what books are you reading? What books are you reading? And I had my list and I was just reading book after book after book. And so consuming, intaking, lots of intaking and and started having a little bit of success and started growing a little bit. But there was one book that I think changed my life. If anybody's read it, it's called um, The 4 Hour Work Week. And and
Mm.
and I didn't get out of that book probably what the author was intending, but maybe I did. Because as you go through the 4 hour work week, um, there's one section that's like halfway through the book that he says, um, we need to stop consuming. Yes, Tim Ferriss. We need to stop consuming and we need to start producing. Because when you read other people's thoughts, you gain their insights. But how do they create those insights? They produce them. They share them. They're posting on social media. They're writing their book. They are doing presentations. They're talking to other people. And it's interesting because in his book, he actually says, turn off the consuming and begin turning on the producing. And I closed that book, never even finished the dang thing, and decided like it's time. It is now time. I know enough. Sure, maybe I've probably only read a few dozen books, but I know enough that it is my time to begin producing. And so I started doing, Facebook posts, producing. I started becoming the source. I started becoming the advice, right? The instead of the people that I was always looking to advice for, I started becoming the person that was sharing. I always would joke and call it blow your nose in public. Your KNOWSs, blow your nose in public and share them, especially if they're amazing. And so yeah, I never even finished the book because he gave that advice, like turn off the income and and start producing the outgo. And it was interesting because that mindset change, I think, landed me to where I am today, where people call for advice, people call for help because all of a sudden I started becoming a producer. Wash your hands after, please. I don't get it.
Blow your
But
nose.
oh, yeah, blow your nose in public. Yes. Um, now I get it. A little slow. So anyway, I personally believe that that was the major difference in my life. That all of a sudden I charged myself to become a producer of thought, a producer of ideas, a producer of systems, of whatever, a producer of valuable things in my life. And so that went from like it was so funny. This happened years ago, but I don't even remember how it came up, but just the way that like my we run our family. I now get people that like literally ask me like, Dane, how do you guys have 7 people in your family and your your sink, your kitchen looks like a model kitchen most of the time? Like, how do you have perfectly clean counters, sink, dishwasher, like basically all of that? How do you guys have 7 people in your family and you keep that crystal clean? And it's not hiring people. And it's not like, oh, we make my wife do it. Because all of a sudden, like we took everything in our lives and started saying, okay, what sucks? Let's create systems, let's produce. Let's produce value. And so it was hilarious because there was one of those meetings that we spent like several minutes on like how we created a system just to have a perfectly clean model kitchen, if you will, all the time, or a vast majority of the time. Like it's clean more than it's not, essentially. And so even down to stuff like that, I remember receiving the advice, how you do one thing is how you do all things. And so it went from like, okay, how do we do systems in our household? Laundry, how do we do, 7 people in our house? How are we keeping up on laundry where the laundry room is not just like caked, right? We build these systems and then all of a sudden that carries over into your daily or your work life. If you start doing that in your life where you begin producing ideas. I can't remember who it was. Anybody who ever heard of Jay Shetty? Oh, this
Hmm.
guy's amazing. Look him up. I can't remember his history before, but he became a monk for several years and did his meditations for a long time. And now he's become, almost the same thing as what Tim Ferriss said. He had tons and tons of income for those years and prepared. And now Jay has I mean, this dude goes around the world and shares his ideas. And he said something along the lines of poor people, topics of conversations revolves around events. Mediocre people, topic of conversation revolves around people. And wealthy mindset people, topic of conversation revolves around ideas. And so notice that in your day. Like what are the people around you mostly talking about? Are they talking about events? Are they talking about people? Or are they talking about ideas? And all the marry a billionaire wife. Love it. Great advice. I'm just kidding. I don't know if I'd do that. Um, I got a whole spiel on that too. Build together. I'm a big fan of build together. Because if you marry the person that is similar to you, there's anyway, we don't have to go there on this call today, but it's more fun. I'll tell you that. It's way more fun to build something together. Love that quote, though thought it came from Epstein. Which quote? Marry a billionaire wife. There we go. No Epstein on this call. So anyway, when your topics of conversations revolve around ideas, especially in like your marriage. Jay's wife is a billionaire. Oh, gotcha. That makes sense. And so my wife and I, like a lot of our conversations revolve around ideas that are going to make our lives better, that are going to produce outcomes that lower stress or increase productivity or whatever, like our dish system. Like we have 7 people in our family. And I remember growing up and there was only 4 kids, so there was 6 of us total in that household. And man, the dishes, I don't know if this bugs anybody else, but I have like a loathing hate for dishes in the sink. Like when I was a kid, I remember they would pile up taller than I was as a child. And we would do this round robin thing where it's like, okay, now it's Dane's turn to do the dishes for felt like the last 5 days that were stacked in the kitchen. Both sides of this, oh, drove me nuts. Absolutely drove me nuts. Steve says, "What's your dish system?" So, um, I mean, we don't have to go into this, but I'm more.
I've seen the dish system, and I have actually told other people about it because I was impressed.
So we have 7 people in the family. We have 7 bowls. We have 7 plates. We have 7 forks. We have 7
Spoons.
spoons. We have 1 knife because most of my kids are young. I have 7 cups, and those actually never leave the dishwasher. We run the dishwasher 3 times a day on the speed setting, not the 2.5 hour setting, on the like 1 hour or less than 1 hour setting. And so there is we call it the template. And so we literally have 7 bowls. Sherry says, I'm tired of waking up in the morning. Oh, yes. Me too, Eric. Okay, so we're going to talk about dishes for a minute. Literally 7 bowls, and there is not even a place in the cupboard to put the bowls. Like the bowls never leave the dishwasher unless it is to go on the table to eat out of. And when you're done with your bowl, let's say you get a bowl of cereal, you get 1 spoon out of the dishwasher, you pull 1 bowl out, or let's say the whole family is eating, then I can ask my 4-year-old son, and he gets it at 4 years old. He will pull all the bowls out of the dishwasher because we have perfectly the right amount for everyone in the family. And he'll pull all those spoons out. And it's funny because yes, we do have more spoons in the house, but they are, let's argue and say, behind lock and key, like very hard to get to and not in the kitchen. So yes, we do have more than 7 bowls and more than 7, but they are arguably inaccessible. And so it is not even possible to have more than that in the sink, if you will. Even if we have a big meal and everybody eats, there's only 7 dirty spoons. There's only 7 dirty forks. There's only 7 dirty plates or bowls or whatever. And their home is the dishwasher. And so yes, let's say we have dinner and we only use plates and forks, then yes, the bowls and spoons are staying in the dishwasher. And when we put those 7 plates back in the dishwasher and put those 7 forks back in the dishwasher, the bowls get washed twice. They get rewashed because they never got used. And because we literally run the dishwasher 3 times a day. And so we make breakfast and so in the template dishwasher, that's what we call it. We have that setup, 7 of everything. And then we call the rest of it flex space. So for example, let's say you're using a bunch of pots and pans and mixing bowls. That goes into the flex space that, for that meal that you use to do all your, because we like to cook. And so sometimes we'll have tons of stuff. And so let's say a big meal happens. We only have 7 bowls or, 7 plates, 7 forks, whatever, 7 cups. Those go right back into where they go. And it's funny because even my 4-year-old knows the system. My 4-year-old can load the dishwasher because he knows where the bowls go. He knows where the plates go. He knows where the cups go. And so you put all the flex space, let's say your pots and pans, and then you hit start right after the meal because it doesn't take long to put in the things that you use to cook off and 7 bowls and plates or whatever. It takes seconds to do so. And you push start. So we run it 3 times a day after every meal. And it's so funny because you look in the dishwasher or in the sink and there's like, oh yeah, that's going to take like 5 seconds to load them all in or 30 seconds max to load everything in after a family of 7 just had a several course meal from in the house. Or now let's say it's just me. Like, let's say I'm hungry. So for example, like all my family's probably eating breakfast right now and I'll eat after this. And so my wife will probably have everything that, washed in the dishwasher. And so there's just a bunch of washed stuff. And so if I'm going to pull 1 bowl out and 1 spoon out and have myself a bowl of cereal real quick, then I'm not going to just push the wash button for that. And so we have, it's like $30 on Amazon. It's an automatic soap dispenser that you just like put your hand underneath and we put the dish soap in it. And so we have a brush that is crazy accessible. In fact, it's literally like sitting right next to the water faucet on a hanger. And so you grab the brush, you stick the brush underneath the automatic soap dispenser that has dish soap in it. So you don't even get your hands wet.
You don't even get your hands wet.
To do this system. Take the brush, stick it under the automatic soap dispenser, wash the bowl, put it back in the template dishwasher. Wash the spoon, put it back in the template dishwasher. Done. And yeah, literally we timed it because we had to, again, back to the produce ideas. We had to show everybody in the house that this is faster.
What was the name of that?
The name of what?
What was the name of the one that you said that you bought at Amazon?
Oh, I don't even know.
Soap
We just
dispenser.
like
a
Googled
dispenser, some kind of dispenser.
Just look for one made in America. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Whenever you shop on Amazon, please.
Yeah,
What
just
what
jump
is
on
it called
Amazon.
though? What is it called? Like a dishwasher dispenser? Is that what it's called?
Oh, here, let's see.
Automatic soap
Amazon.
dispenser.
Automatic soap
just-
dispenser.
Yeah, just search on Amazon, automatic soap.
I wonder if we uploaded the transcription of Daine explanation to
Thank you, Dane.
and the AI could make an infographic about.
Yeah. And so literally every morning, the sink is perfectly clean. The dishes are clean. And we never have a pile like that. Again, like I said, in my childhood, when the dishes were piled taller than I was, oh my gosh, that like gives me PTSD because we had a big family. And yeah, perfectly clean model kitchen most of the time. Unless we're like rushing off to church and like throw everything in the sink and rush off to church. But even when you come home from church, it's like, oh, there's like 7. Put them in the dishwasher, push start.
Daine, did you say you got this idea from a book?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought you said you got.
We just looked at our lives. So again, remember when I said Jay Shetty says that wealthy people think about ideas. Mediocre people or what do they call it? Middle class people think about people or talk about people, and poor people talk about events. And so in my marriage, in our family, we actually talk about ideas. And so we like to talk about what sucks, which for me, it's dishes. I hate dishes. I worked on a dairy farm for many, many years and on the family dairy, and I milked cows. And I had a friend that was like, "Hey Dane, come and work at," it's called the Timber Mine, really, really fancy restaurant. He's like, "Dude, let's go work at the Timber Mine together." I lasted 2 days washing dishes. I was like, screw it, I will milk cows. I hate dishes. And so in our marriage, as we started having more and more kids, and I remember seeing the very dramatic, yes, I remember seeing the sink get loaded with dishes once and was just like, no. And so my wife and I talked about ideas, and I was like, how do we make this not suck? How do we make this so it's amazing in our lives? The dishes are not like the bane of our existence. And originally it was, because it was just my wife and I and maybe one kid. Originally it was don't use the dishwasher. We would hand wash everything. The dishwasher became a drying rack because there was only like 2 or 3 of us. And even, like a very like a one-year-old or 2-year-old kid. And that lasted until we had, I think, 2 or 3 kids where we literally never ran the dishwasher ever. We would run it like once a month, maybe, just to make sure that all the water, because the dishwasher we still had the template dishwasher. We had 3 bowls and 3 forks and 3 spoons or whatever in that dishwasher, but we would never need to run it because it was just as fast to do that system, to grab this brush, put it under the automatic soap dispenser, wash soap. It was basically just as fast as loading the dang thing. And so to answer her question, we just had, we talked about ideas. How do we make our lives so much more streamlined where we're not like dreading the dishes or, and we do something similar with laundry where we're not dreading the laundry because our topics of conversation were ideas instead of people and events. We talked about how to produce outcomes. Go ahead.
Yeah, I know that some people, the people who've been around for a while, they get how this relates to investing. But there's some new people who are like, what are you talking about?
Sorry.
And that's okay. Folks, it's the system.
How you do one thing is how you do everything.
Exactly. How you do anything is how you do everything. So the reason why Daine could do 1,400 interactions with people to create 300 deals is because of the little steps that you don't have to guess about all along the way that are predictable, and it's the system. It all applies. How you eat, how you clean, how you invest, how you relate to others, and so pick one thing and get good at it, and it will affect the other areas of your life.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, Eric has a good point. I try and poke holes in it, basically. How much is your water bill and how many dishwashers? I have never burned through a dishwasher.
Nice.
Never. I've never had to replace one because it broke. The only time I've ever replaced a dishwasher, in fact, we just bought this new one, just barely, and the last one was perfectly fine. But the problem with the last one is it didn't have a space for 7 bowls, 7 plates, 7 cups. And so I said, honey, we're getting a new dishwasher because the last one only could withstand 6 at a time. And so we shopped dishwashers based on how many bowls and plates and cups. And so this new one handles 7. We could probably actually have a few more, but it perfectly efficiently handles. And that's the only reason we bought the new dishwasher, because the old one only handled 6.
Nice.
I've never had to replace one because we only use, so back to the water bill question, we only use the fast setting. And so have you ever seen the timer on a long setting of a dish? It's like 2.5 hours, almost 3 hours in many cases.
It's a whole day.
What's that?
That's the whole day.
Yeah, it takes forever. And so we do the fast setting, and we noticed that it doesn't clean the dishes any better, at least in my experience. I mean, maybe if you like throw it in there loaded, but that's what the brush is for. That's like, grab it, don't even get your hands wet. And if you got a bunch of crap on it, then yeah, do a little swiggy, put it in the dishwasher. It's still just as fast. And they come out just as clean. In fact, in many cases, I guess I better be careful with this, but in many cases, like let's say we're doing a really quick, everybody has a bowl of cereal. And so because everybody finishes their cereal, goes right in the dishwasher. I don't even put soap in the dishwasher. We just push start. I did all the research to kill all the germs. You need to have 160 or 165 degree water. And I made sure that when we bought that dishwasher, I did the research. What temperature does it bring the water to? Guess what? 165. I think it's actually by design. And so I was like, we don't even need soap. And so we don't burn through tons and tons of dishwasher soap either, because if you take that, I mean, there's not even a chance for stuff to grow on a bowl that you just pulled out of the clean dishwasher, had a bowl of cereal, and now you're done. Now you're done? No.
Yeah.
Plus, even if there was some germs or whatever, it would be killed because the dishwasher gets up to 165 degrees. So we use the fast setting, which, again, to answer Eric's question, it's basically the equivalent of running it once a day. Because if you got a 2.5 hour to 3 hour normal run cycle, and you use the quick one that's a third of that, and we use it 3 times a day, we're using arguably a third of the water, or a third of the electricity, or a third of the, anyway, I think you're picking up what I'm putting down.
Hey, Carla's got a question. Her hand is up.
Yeah, go ahead.
Wanted to share, this was amazing, and why it's an epiphany for me over the past 4 years. Anybody that's known me over 4 years, I was a lot heavier. I've released 100 pounds over 4 years. And I say release as opposed to lose, because when you go to lose something, you try to find it. So I'm not trying to find it. I'm trying to have it be permanently released. But how I did that is no flour, no sugar, 3 meals a day. I don't eat in between, right? So that's the habit that I have. And in the beginning, because I've been overweight most of my life, and my sons and my husband, when I would try my little diets, they're like, oh, Ma, you want it. Oh, Carla, you want it. But now, since they've seen 4 years of my habits being sustained, they're like, oh, she doesn't eat that. Oh, they don't even make the offer anymore. So what we call in human resources, what you're talking about are transferable skills. And now and I am not an intellectual, anybody that knows the drive system, but I like accomplishing goals. So I realized I need systems to accomplish goals. And at the beginning of this year, I heard the stat that women over 50, we lose about 6% of our muscle mass every year. And I'm like, oh, that's an L. I'm not trying to do that. So what can I do? So I knew I needed a system, a habit. I knew I wasn't going to go to the gym every day, because the moment it rains or snows, I'm like, so I can do 15 minutes a day of strength exercises, 2 10-pound weights, following a YouTube video. I have not missed a day since January 1st. So now I'm on the search for systems. Where is this system? So you're talking about it for everything. It's everything. And that will make a difference. The bottom line is that we are a collection of our habits. So thank you so much.
Oh, yeah.
Authentic.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I love it. And if I'm going to guess, you have a trigger that it just, when this happens in the day, you do that stuff. Am I right?
Correct.
And it becomes normal life. You no longer have to think about it, right? Our dishwasher system, you don't have to think about it anymore. It's just the system, and we just do it, right? In fact, Steve made a good point. This gets you 2 hours back in a week. Yeah, probably. And so you have more time to go do deals. You have more time to go make money. You have more time. Oh, amazing. So start, and Carla nailed this on the head. The conversations now are surrounded with ideas. If the people around you only want to talk about people or events, like, get some new people, or be the example and start talking about ideas. And it's so interesting because some people will kind of like they don't want to talk about ideas. It's like uncomfortable. Sometimes you'll break them into it. That's great because now all of a sudden you're the example and people look to you. But spend most of your time talking about ideas. Like the Tim Ferriss book that I never even finished. Produce ideas. And it's so interesting because just the fact that you want to, it's something turns on in your brain and you start getting more ideas. It's crazy. I just finished dish cleanup as you were talking. Yeah, stop it. Create the system that's just done after you're done within seconds. And so now, how does this apply to real estate? Same idea. With my real estate, like I don't want to take all this time to do one deal. We have the system that you do the same thing over and over and over again, and we can be in and out of deals. In fact, my running joke with a lot of the people that I raise money with or raise money from. In fact, I think I might have told this story, but I just had a guy that has been doing hard money for 30 years. 30 years. And he calls me up and he's like, Daine, I'm 60 some odd years old. It's time to start thinking about some kind of retirement. And I'm a business owner, and so retirement isn't the same as most people. He's like, I've been doing hard money for 30 years. And he's like, my kids are getting older, grandkids soon. Like, I got to start thinking about what I'm going to do to help myself offload. And I spoke up and put the words in his mouth. I said, you want to be able to be in and out of deals with 3 emails and a wire transfer. Am I right? I just interrupted him. And he's like, yeah. He's like, yes, that sounds amazing. And so, yeah, in fact, I remember sharing this because I just raised more money in one day than I had in my entire Renatus career. And that gentleman was like, I want to put to work $1.5 million. And guess what? As of tomorrow, I'll put that $1.5 million to work, or all of that, I should say, across a couple deals. And he sends me this text. In fact, this happened just before this morning. Let me pull it up. So I basically have allocated the 1.5 that he asked me. He's like, hey, he asked about the deal tomorrow, looking to fund any other deals of interest. So he's already got more money than the 1.5 because we produced and did what he wanted, put his money to work. Any other deals of interest come across your desk lately? So that tells me like, oh, we're about to raise more than 1.5 from this one gentleman to go do more deals. And so the system, like how you do one thing is how you do all things. I run my business like I run my dishwashing system. I run my business like I run the laundry system, where even my 4-year-old son can do his laundry. And I mean, he needs a little help with the things he's not tall enough to do or whatever. But my 5-year-old and my 7-year-old, they do their own laundry at 7 years old and 9 years old. Anyway, so how you do one thing is how you do all things. Think about being a producer of these systems in your house and in your business. Because like I said, when all of a sudden you make the shift and say, you know what, no more income, now the outgo, the creation, right? Yeah, if you're not well read, I should say, if you haven't read a lot of these personal development books, then yes, consume for a season. And you'll know when your season is about to change, where you're like, okay, now it is my time to begin producing. I've taken enough intake, and then it's just like the income that you use or the income that you partake in just becomes to support the ideas that you have. It's no longer to create something from nothing. It's like, oh, I have this idea and all I need now is to income or intake enough to produce my idea effectively. And so,
Yep, that's where I'm at with AI for marketing. I've been spending several months just learning. I've made a few things here and there, a couple morning calls. I've showed you guys some stuff, just super basic amateur stuff. But now, like you're talking about, there's a season where you're going to go from just knowledge gathering to now it's action time. And looking at our E3 summit coming up in about 100 days, I need to be putting together all this knowledge I've been gathering to make it some income. And so anyway, that's something I've been working on, guys, and hopefully I can share some amazing results with you as we get closer to this event. But Daine, Steep Snow had a question. I've been answering it, but I was wondering how you would answer his question. Let's see, at 10:08 or 9:08 in your world.
908. So let's see, how many do we forecast the interest rates so we can manage flip risk?
I don't think the mini is supposed to be there.
Oh, how do we forecast interest rates so we can manage flip risk? Really, here's my take on this. And I've seen this play out a lot over the last 10 years, almost 10 years, that it used to be that if you bought a house, because the market was appreciating so fast, that a lot of people made money on accident. And I used to actually stop, I got so fed up with that. I used to stop people and, they're like, oh, I did my first flip. I bought this house in 2018 and I sold it in 2022. And I would stop them in their tracks and say, you didn't flip a house. I'm really sorry to bust your bubble. The trick is you make your money when you buy. Because yes, markets are always changing. But if you make your money when you buy, it is very rare that if you have your system down and you can be in and out of a deal in 3 months, it is very rare that, again, if you made your money when you bought, that the market changed so much that 3 months later, all of a sudden, it's drastically different. That, and let's say the trend is down. You can still flip houses. Like, this is what I'm getting at. You can still flip houses in a downward market. Why? Because if you have your system down where you can fix that house in 30 days, get it back on the market, and even if the average days on market is 60 to 90 days today, let's say the 90 days. So you fix it and you take 90 days to sell it, because that's the days on market in your neighborhood. That's what it is in my neighborhood lately, is 90 days on market is just the average. And so if you account for that, you'll still make money because you made your money when you bought.
Nice. So we kind of answered in the same way.
Yeah. And so sorry, I didn't read yours, Michael.
I said to reduce risk, you need to run the numbers and structure deals that are not based on interest rates. Oops, I forgot the not in there. Editing that are not sorry, not based on interest rates. It's something you cannot control. So to mitigate the risk, focus on what you can control, buy price, etc., and understand that the rate will be whatever the rate is. Also, lower rates make poor people poorer in this country, but it makes some things short-term affordable. Higher rates will long-term be more healthy for our economy. It will be uncomfortable in the short term, and gamblers will be liquidated. But long-term will make housing more affordable for the majority of people in the country.
Yeah,
So,
like all the looky-loos, all the wannabes, all the tire kicker fix and flippers that we're overpaying when we show up at auctions, when we show up at wholesalers, when we show up, like those people are getting eliminated because they're not making their money when they buy. If you make your money when you buy, meaning that you don't have to do a dang thing to that house and you could sell it and make your money tomorrow, that's when you know you've made your money.
yep.
You don't even have to clean it.
Yeah.
Like leave it as is and you could turn around and sell it and make your money. those are the people that are still killing it, even in this market where, it's kind of been up and down. I don't want to say we've had this downward trend because it wouldn't be true. But we've had some up and downs, plateaus especially. And so many people were buying these houses as if it was going to appreciate. And that was the only way they were going to make money. Or they would buy the house and then hire the contractor, pay them half down, which if I ever am physically in the space of someone that says that that's what they're doing, I'm gonna slap them. Maybe not girls, but don't do that. It promotes slow. In fact, I can't tell you how many times I've heard this. In fact, I just had a call yesterday from a gentleman that I have had this I want to shake him. Thankfully, he was on the phone. But years ago, he calls me and he's like, hey, yeah, I just found the best contractor. He's amazing. He's flying through these deals. And I asked him, how are you paying him? And he's like, yeah, we're doing half down. And then he finished it. And I'm like, stop it. He's like, no, but he's great. He's doing them so fast. I said, stop it. Contractors like that are good until they're not. Because that contractor is an employee mindset contractor. If they need your money to start a project, that's an employee mindset contractor. Business owner mindset contractors don't need your money to start. And I'm not saying one or the other is wrong or bad. In fact, in my opinion, employee mindset contractors are my favorite because they're typically cheaper and they do good work. But if they need your money to start that project, don't give it to them. You buy, because they're, I need money for materials. No, you buy the materials and you hire the contractor. And you do not pay that contract. Like, how does this work in the W-2 world? You do the job and then you get paid a week after your 2 week, because if you get paid every 2 weeks, you work for 2 weeks and then you get paid the next Friday for the work that you did a week ago for 2 weeks. Like, that's how companies do it. If you have an employee mindset contractor that needs your money up front, pay them like an employee after the work is done. And I'm trying to remember where I was going with this.
Gamblers and people buying the top. This is what they're doing right here.
Okay, yeah. So really quick to finish that question. If you have the contractor that baby powder slap, love it. If you have the contractor that is like that, the way you motivate them is say, do the work and then I will pay you. And man, they do it fast.
Because they need the money.
Fast.
Yeah.
So, I was telling the story about the guy. So he comes to me and he says, that contractor, oh yeah, he's great. He's great. Less than a year later, he calls me. He's like, dude, this contractor's terrible. I was like, I told you. And it's so funny. He calls me yesterday and guess what he said? I found the best contractor. He's so fast. He's so great. He's doing great. And so then he calls me yesterday. He's like, hey, remember that contractor? We paid him $30,000. And this person happens to be building a house for the Utah Parade of Homes. And so they are on a time crunch. And he's like, yeah, we paid him 30 grand and I have 15 days until the Parade of Homes to finish this house. And he is nowhere to be seen. And he was like, yeah, he's like my best friend. And I was like, his name, I shouldn't disclose the name. I was like, dude, this is how they all go.
Dang.
Best friend, best contractor, did one deal, was amazing. And then you gave him referrals. And then he did the same for them. He did the same for all the referrals. Oh yeah, half down. So now he's got half down from 10 people because he's an amazing contractor, amazing at his craft. But if he has half down from 10, if he has half down from 3 people, he can't be in 3 places at once. And so even the most amazing contractors fall. So don't do that. If you make your money when you buy and you hire the contractor that does not get paid until he is done, doesn't see one dime from you until he is done, you will get it done fast. And then all you have to do is wait to sell it. sell it at market value, maybe even ever so slightly below market value to sell it faster. So that way you can try and beat, if your days on market average for the whole area is 60 days, maybe you sell it in 30 because you sell it slightly below market. But hey, you made your money when you bought, so you can afford to do that kind of stuff. Instead of the people that I see that are like, oh, we have to keep the listing at this price or else we're going to lose money. Like you didn't make your money when you bought, if that's your mindset, or your contractor took forever. And so anyway, there's my soapbox. People are still making even in a down market when they treat it like that. Go ahead, Michael.
I mean, even a decent average contractor has a $5,000 credit card at Home Depot, and can start funding their own material, and then you reimburse them.
Yeah, or like basically never pay for materials until you have a receipt that has your name on it. And so I've done it a couple ways. Either I've had that contractor that's like, hey, yeah, if you'll give me money for materials, I'm like, no. If you need my money for materials, go create a Home Depot cart. And Home Depot actually knows that. Like Home Depot gets this. Home Depot can allow the contractor to share the cart with me, and I buy the materials. I get the receipt in my name, and I can say contractor's name as a pickup name, and my contractor goes and so I even did one down in St. George just barely, which by the way is like 6-hour drive for me. So I'm not going to St. George just to manage a little project. I just did one in St. George from afar with that mindset. He asked for money for materials. I said, no. Build a cart in Home Depot. I will pay the materials. You go pick up the materials and then you fix the house, and I don't pay you the labor. So basically he makes no money until he finishes. And I had a realtor come and do the inspection to make sure everything was good. And so I said, you get paid after the inspection, after a satisfactory inspection, the day of the inspection even. And so he went and picked up the materials and did the job really fast. And I paid him on the spot when the realtor came and did the inspection and said, yep, everything looks really good. And he got paid. And he did it so fast to get that done.
And everybody wins in that regard.
Everybody won. Everybody was happy. And so, because I've seen where, if let's say the contractor is like, oh, yeah, I need money for materials. Like, oh, no. I need the, whatever. And then you give them money to go buy it. Now the receipt is in your contractor's name. And when anything goes south, any disagreement or anything of the sort, contractor can go return those materials. He has the receipt. I've seen that happen, where they go return all these materials, they get the money from the receipt, and they're gone. Even the most honest of people I've seen do stuff like that. Because there was, in their mind, they were justified because there were disagreements. Like, fine, I'm not doing this. Take the materials back, get the money, gone.
That's a damn shame.
Oh, yeah. Or let's say that the contractor is going to sell you the materials, then you get a receipt from your contractor that says they sold you these materials. And if they take the materials back, they just stole. That's theft. Yeah. And you can prove it in a court of law, if you had to, that you had a receipt for materials and then they took the materials and didn't give you a refund. And judge, I have the receipt and the materials are gone. Just,
you got to think it through, folks. There's this principle we all have. It's part of our mammalian brain that does default to truth. And there's this whole book about it called Talking to Strangers. And we all just assume everyone's telling the truth, and we need like blaring red flags with sirens to tell us it's a lie. Okay, not a little yellow flag or an orange flag or even just a little warning beep. No, we need it like screaming in our face, that was a lie. Then we'll finally switch our brain and go, oh, maybe that's not true. You need to assume everything is a lie in this game. Your realtor's lying, your inspector is lying, your contractor is lying, the buyers are lying, the sellers are lying, everybody's lying.
Just don't tell them you think that.
Right. And then once they have enough proof that it's true, then you'll believe it. But don't default to truth. That's how you get scammed.
That's a good advice. That's very good advice.
And also don't buy the top of a market. Okay. This is where the normies get in this thrill and euphoria phase. And people, that's when it becomes mainstream. Everyone should get into real estate. Real estate's the best, best, best. But now in some markets, we're in complacency, and in some markets, it's going down. The whole nation won't go down because there's always demand and supply and desirability in different areas of the country at different times. Now it's, the online economy versus a physical economy. We're not going to have huge swaths of areas in a depression, but it'll be more of job sectors and income sectors than physical locations necessarily being struggling. Anyway, my point is, if you buy up here, you need to plan on holding all the way through this, and then back up through the cycle and then sell again up here. If you are not buying at a discount, if you're not making your money when you buy, you're going to have to ride the cycle or lose money. Those are your two choices if you don't make money when you buy.
Yeah.
So-
How many instructors have stories where they're like, yeah, like I held this one for 10 years. We thought
Yep.
we were going to sell it. And they held it for 10. Like I got tons of stories of
Yep.
smart people that said, yeah, we ended up holding that one. Like I've had stories where people are like, yeah, I ended up buying this laundromat, and that was the only thing that saved me through the downturn. Or yeah, like I bought these houses that we were going to flip, and we ended up having to hold all of them, and they were the only thing that saved me during the downturn because I could at least rent them. And so, yeah, really quick, I want to speak to Maylee's comment where she says this is why the challenge is so amazing. It helps people consume education enough to then produce effectively. Like this, you see, how many times have you seen that person? That's the story of the person that has some degree and then they went to get like a job or whatever in that field. And then all of a sudden their story is like, yeah, I'm actually back in school. You're like, whoa, you're going back to college? Like, yeah, it wasn't working out. So I need more information. Like, because I feel like society has created this culture that it's like always learn, always like go back to college, go learn more. Like, no. When you go through the education, especially like what Maylee's talking about in the 90-day challenge, I'm guessing that's what her reference is in the challenge.
Yeah.
In the 90-day challenge, they designed it to say, watch these specific set of classes. In fact, I would dare guess that it's the same classes that I watched when I was brand new. And when you watch that, all of a sudden you can promote this culture, you can promote this mentality that you know enough. You know enough to get going. And it's amazing because the concept of what do they call that? Done is better than perfect. When you have done those classes, it is better than trying to say, hey, I'm going to go get my doctorate in Renatus, whatever, and watch more, whatever it is. You know enough to start because done is better than perfect. And the beautiful thing is when you get going, because you decide done is better than perfect, when you start, all of a sudden you find yourself in these situations where you're like, that's what he meant. That's what the instructor meant. And you see yourself in these situations that are basically like what the instructor was talking about. And the beautiful thing about Renatus, the education aspect, is that when you find yourself in that situation and you have the team, because every single instructor says the same thing, competent professionals, surround yourself with competent professionals. And so all of a sudden you find yourself in a situation and now you know how to talk to that title agent, that realtor, that attorney, that loan officer, that hard money lender, that contract, whoever it is, the professional. Now all of a sudden you know how to talk to them and have a competent conversation where you're still learning from them, but you're learning on the job at that point, where it's like, okay, now I put myself in a situation and I've got these questions. You know how to ask them. You know how to grasp the conversation to get what you need out of it. So that's what, and in fact, that's what I meant when I said, all of a sudden you learn enough where now you're producing and you only need to income, you only need to intake whatever you specifically need to produce the outcome that you're going for. And so all of a sudden the income becomes a specific question for a specific scenario from a specific professional, attorney, realtor, title, whoever it is, contractor. But yeah, and it says, or worse, when someone buys the education and doesn't watch and implement, when self-education becomes shelf education versus taking action. Yeah, or even the people that are like, they start doing deals because all they do is listen to all the professionals, and so they buy a fix and flip from the wholesaler, but they didn't know how to do the research because they didn't actually watch the education. They put it on the shelf, and they're like, guys, I'm doing deals. And everybody in the community is like, look, they're doing deals, but they haven't watched a dang thing. And then I've just seen it too many times. They're just like, crap. And then they start doing things or they start saying things and they're like, oh yeah, that was in that class. So they're like, wait, what? Don't be that person. I've seen it
That's
one too
funny.
many times.
I've never heard shelf education before. That's funny.
Yeah, like because now they're basically in school hard knocks.
So I know some people don't believe me. And of course, charts are open for interpretation depending on the chart. But what do you see here?
30-year fixed, median sales price. Interesting.
This is a almost 50-year trend. Okay, 50-year snapshot right here. Almost 45.
Wow.
So what are you seeing?
I'd be curious to see what, like, another line that has the mortgage payments. I'd be super serious to see because
Oh, interesting, because the rate and the price would determine the payment. So
yeah, like
I'm
which
sure
one is, I mean, obviously it's the price, the payments would be going up because price affects rate a little faster, or inflation.
But dude, I saw another chart. I'll bring it up on a different stream where it was rent for the average house versus mortgage payment for the average house over the last 30 years. And they've crossed 3 times. So now we're at this point where it's actually cheaper to rent than to own
Yeah.
for an average house on a monthly payment basis.
Yeah, right now. I believe that. I've seen that.
And then each of these gray bars is a recession. Now remember, the government only defines a recession as 2 quarters with negative GDP. So recession, 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 micro recession.
Created.
Yeah.
Like,
gosh darn it, dude.
Manufactured.
I wish I would have seen it clearer then than as I do now. I would have done a few things differently, but it's okay. But my point is, folks, when the interest rate is high, price is low. When the interest rate is low, price is high. So a bunch of you are hoping we get lower interest rates this year. You must also understand when you are saying that, you are asking for inflated prices. Isn't your job to buy houses? Your job as your family economic decider is to buy houses and accumulate assets. So if the interest rate goes down, the price goes up. I think you want higher interest rates. So something to consider. We're talking about ideas.
Yeah.
Something to consider.
And keep in mind that you know, I'm not sure if it's been like a big concern of people, interest rates, but if the interest rate for you is a certain percentage, the interest rate for everybody else is the same percentage at the end of the day. And so it's it's not about the interest rate, in my opinion,
Mm-mm.
because the market is the market, and everybody's in the same market as we are. And so if you have the mindset of you make your money when you buy, like pretty much everything else falls into place. And that goes for cash flow too. Like if I had somebody text me, in fact, I invited them to come on this call. A student texted me yesterday and was like, "Hey, can you look at this deal?" And I was like, I don't have time to just look at every little potential deal. But at the end of the day, she was saying that it was a buy and hold. And I was like, well, have you run the math? Do you know what it'll revenue, and do you know what your mortgage payment would be? And she hadn't even got to that point yet. But same idea. You make your money when you buy. If you realize, if you run that math to say, okay, here's how much revenue I can produce, and here's how much the payment would be based on today's rates. Did you make your money when you bought based on if you refinanced it today? Yes or no? And so if your goal is buy and hold, then sure, market value isn't as important to you. I mean, in my opinion, it's still important, but it's not as important to you as did you make your money cash flow wise when you bought that house based on price, loan lendability, if you will, or the loan payment that it would be or is going to be or is did you make your money cash flow wise when you bought? Anyway, so I don't think she was able to jump on today because I told her like interrupt everybody and tell us to look at the deal. But I think she got the point that I was like, I don't think you're far enough down the down this deal yet to see if you're going to make your money when you buy. But anywho, all right, we're 9:43. Do we have any
Perfect.
straggler questions that we missed? I don't see any.
It looks like we've been able to address them all.
Cool.
Wonderful. Another Wealth Wednesday, folks. Remember, this is the best place to get the support, education, and direction to build your real estate portfolio for you and your family while reducing risk and maintaining profitability. Spread that word. Let other people know. And if you appreciate what we're doing, when you see the new people in the chats and in the Facebook groups and everything, take care of them. Help them feel like they're taken care of. Answer their questions and do your best. Do your best to get it all. We are 100 days away from our E3. Stay focused on that. And another Wealth Wednesday is in the history books.
Yes. And like Eric says, now everybody better have a model kitchen most of the time.
How you doing?
No excuses.
Yeah, it all affects it. Awesome.
I love it.
All right, folks. Have a wonderful day. Love you all. See you soon. Bye for now.
Peace.